So in '89, we started the Moahunters. That was Willie's idea. We start up our own band where we're in charge, because there's always a drama when you're in someone else's band. Whoever was in charge was the one who had the van or the PA, you know, and it was just a whorehouse. So they said, let's start our own band. Oh, okay then. So we'll grab some of these cool musos from South Auckland that we've known, and we'll start our own band. And we'll have a little bit of a kaupapa to it, but we'll have the fun factor that we had in the clubs. So we started our band, and I know Mina Ripia was quite keen. He said, let's get some dancers. That Mina's quite good. She's in Billy TK and Wharemana, and I'd done a little bit of work with them. So we invited her to dance, and there's been a cast of thousands along the way. She was the main one. Then later Ted Mwana Rapley would join once we kicked into the Moahunters a bit more. So that would have been in '89. We started up north in some field at some festival, like Waimati or somewhere. I remember it was in a field. Anyway, it went down really well with the people. They quite liked that. It's kind of a big band, these couple of women and me singing, and we'd do Kua Mākona and a couple of songs that Dalvanius had written for me, Pupurutia, and I did one of Mahinarangi's songs, Papa Tuanuku, that she had me record, but otherwise it's still kind of covers. And then I went overseas to the States with Sid Jackson, Willie's uncle, and his wife Deji Nehua, who were guests of the Nation of Islam, and so we stayed with families in New York and in Chicago, and then we went down to Detroit. There was something happening where Minister Louis Farrakhan, the head of the Nation of Islam, was invited to an ecumenical kind of gathering where the Baptists and whatever other religions they've got there and the Muslims were coming together to sort of celebrate being Afro-American and look at things holistically as a people. So in our flight down, we were with Minister Farrakhan. Reverend Al Sharpton came down with us too. So he was sort of larger than life, looked like a James Brown, and he had all these bodyguards. And I remember me and Deirdre going, far out, this is full on. So we fly down to Detroit, go to this amazing Baptist church, and where everyone's dressed up to the nines, and there's like a band and a choir and this other minister who's very much like James Brown talking, and all this interaction between the people and the minister. You know, every time he said something, yeah, brother minister, yeah, brother, and it was like so entertaining. And we're the only three non-Afro-American foreigners there. We're only three foreigners there, and we're sitting there going, God, this is fantastic. Getting really excited, and people would walk up sort of like random. They'd say, oh, praise the Lord, and you know, then they'd sing, you know, Jesus, and sound really incredible. And I'd say to my host, oh God, what a singer. Are they like famous? And they go, oh no, it's just a sister from around the block. So after this happened about, 3 times, I thought, I'd been in the clubs trying to sound as black as, like Shaka Khan, and then I heard these, sisters from around the block, singing so amazing. I thought, shit, I think I better just lose that whole music thing that I've been, what have I been thinking? Anyway, the minister, he had said to the congregation, did you know there are black folk in the bottom of the South Pacific? And so I'm turning to Sid and Deirdre, and I'm going, there's black folk in the bottom of the South Pacific, did you ever know? And anyway, not thinking they're talking about us, and he goes, they are called Maori Indians. And we're thinking, oh hell, he is talking about us, okay. And then he said, we got some Maori Indian brothers and sisters here today, please stand up for the Maori activist, Sid Jackson. Uncle Sid stands up. He's like, kia ora, kia ora. And then his wife, Sister Deirdre. And he goes, and Sister Mona Jackson. So I stood up, and then we sat down and I was going, oh my God, how fabulous. And then he goes, Sister Mona Jackson is a popular Maori singer. Because my hosts had told them. And we're going to get the sister up to sing. And I just was so mortified. And I said to Uncle Sid and Deirdre, oh my God, we have to get up and sing. And Uncle Sid said, what do you mean we, basically? You go up there, you'll be right. You roll. Okay, come on. No, I'm not going. So I thought I'm going to have a heart attack, because the congregation is like, go to Sister Maori Indian sister. You know, it was all like, and as I was walking, I sort of, I had my little epiphany about, years of trying to be black in South Auckland and wherever, that maybe it's not too bad to be Māori in this situation. So I thought, I'm going to sing a Māori song that we all know back home, written by Hirini Melbourne. So I figured that out as I walked to the front. It gives me palpitations thinking about it now. And I sang Puri Te Hau. And I was so nervous. I was doing the whole witty and everything. And the response was really amazing afterwards. And when we went back to my friend's house, our host's house, he said, sister, they're talking about you on the radio. So we went and listened, thinking this is like one surreal day. And this man had rung up the radio host, and he said, did you know there are black folk in the bottom of the South Pacific? They'd be called Maori Indians. And we're like, oh my God, here we go again. He said, and there was a sister there singing in her language today, and she made the hairs stand on the back of my neck. So I thought, wow, isn't that amazing? That kind of resonated with these people that I had always looked up to, something like simple that I had done in our language that we hadn't heard of on our radio, kind of like touched them in some way. And then this Reverend Al Sharpton, who I think is the greatest speaker I've ever heard in my life. He was electrifying, and Minister Farrakhan is electrifying too, but Sharpton was just out of this planet. He had said, you've got to stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that stuck with me, and I came back and when I go out and speak to students, I tell them that story about knowing what you stand for, what your values are, and otherwise you get sucked into anything. And so that experience was quite a meaningful one to me. And when we'd come back and we'd kicked into doing Black Pearl, that was on the cards to being released. We started to think, I was with Murray Kamek then, Willie had hooked us up there, and he was fantastic, Murray, and started to think about, writing our own music that was in line with the kaupapa, So yeah, that was being mixed up with the Nation of Islam, seeing their respect for things Māori, right high at the top level, and I think that was definitely pivotal in my thinking.